And it follows that any thinking, at least thinking that you could uh, form into coherent sentences and actually share with others, obviously has to arise with language. It's not necessarily identical to language, but you can't convey it. You can't communicate a thought until you put it into words. And as soon as you do put it into words, you're sharing a world with other people. So you're always borrowing the ideas of others, because an idea isn't something that originates with you. It originates in the community. And when you have an idea, you're sharing it. Otherwise, it's not a complete idea. It's maybe something that you can foresee in your mind and, experience the building up of, but it doesn't get released until you speak it, until you can hear it in the language that you might hear another person speak. So the hard problem of consciousness is only hard because of the particular way that we're framing the situation, assuming a priori that there is this objective world that science can study, that is completely separable from the subjective world of, personal human existence and experience. For there to be a hard problem of consciousness, we have to assume a priori that this subject-object duality is actually there. Actually meaning before we ask about it, before we use language and suppose that language could represent some objective affair in nature, before we pose the question, before we doubt anything, is there separation between mind and body? And, you could say no, there's not, but why do we doubt? But I think the thing we don't realize about doubt is that it's always a temporary thing, because eventually you are a body and you're going to die. So your doubt, your delay, because you demanded certainty, your apparent stepping out of experience so that you can reflect upon it and logically represent it and understand it and rationally respond to it. All of that is a temporary ploy that ultimately is going to fail, because your body will decay eventually and you will die, and you will no longer be able to take a step back. You'll no longer be in control. And I think, this is why faith is, it's just like the word God. Both of these words, God and faith, are so misunderstood or misused or underappreciated, because they're often used in such incorrect ways. Not incorrect in the sense that there's an objective reality that language could map, but incorrect in the sense that some of the profundity that is contained by these symbols is neglected because of an attachment to rationality, say, to doubt, to the idea that doubt could actually be a permanent reaction or a permanent attitude to have towards your existence. It's always temporary, because you're going to die and you can't doubt death. You can't avoid it. You're not in control of whether you or when you die. So having faith doesn't mean you believe in any specific, silly idea about what created the universe and who did it and why. Having faith is realizing that doubt is impossible, or it's an inauthentic way to respond to your entire experience. And doubt is what gives rise to the ego, to the Cartesian ego, to the need to question reality, to create that dualism between yourself and other people, or between your ideas and your knowledge and the world of your experience, or between mind and body. To ask the hard problem of consciousness, you have to have that Cartesian anxiety, as Varela called it, when really you have to talk yourself into this problem doesn't exist before you do that. Children innately, intuitively understand the union of mind and body, the coincidence of mind and body. They have to be educated into separating the two, and most people never do it entirely, because it's impossible to do, obviously. And so people struggle their whole lives with this task that they've been given by their culture, to unite mind and body as if they were separate somehow. So the hard problem of consciousness, maybe it's a lot simpler, maybe it's a lot softer, and almost too obvious to think about.